think Queen of Pop, who comes into your head? Yes, it's Madonna, who has actually spent like her 40-year career facing constant backlash. It seems like every single day now someone's like found a new problem that they have with her. Like first she was too sexual, then she was talentless, and now she's too old, she's embarrassing, she's cringe. You get the idea, it's just kind of constant. She debuted into an era when like male rock stars dominated the music industry. Male rock stars who, by the way, sang very vulgar and sexual lyrics. They sang about sex, they sang about women, they sang about their desires. They would belt and scream their lyrics, and at the time, the public like lived for it. It was like their lifeblood. So like, how do you think they would react when Madonna debuted back in 1983? You know, someone who sang like sexual lyrics, who kind of like owned her sexuality and stuff like these rock stars did. Well, she was too vulgar. She was too sexual. How dare she sing about her desires? And why was she not trying to appeal to men? Like, how dare she take control of her own image? These things about Madonna kind of evoked like a lot of rage in the general public, the music industry, journalists, everyone in between. But like, why? Why? Well, in my opinion, it's kind of just because she's a woman. It was kind of unheard of at the time for women to be like unapologetically sexual the way that Madonna was. Before Madonna, it was kind of only acceptable for women to sing about their desire to be desired by men. They were expected to be innocent and vulnerable and like desperate for a strong knight in shining armor to come and save them from the tower. And like, especially because Madonna sang about herself being in control of her own sexuality, she was like absolutely hated. Like, she was public enemy number one because of that. But like, in popular rock music at the time, women were objectified in like every lyric. Madonna, a woman singing about being in control, was completely unheard of. Madonna defied all of these unspoken rules, and she was hated for it, as most women in music still are. Now, obviously, Madonna wasn't the first to defy these gender norms in music. She wasn't the first to sing like about desires, about sexuality, but she did it on such a huge global scale that nobody saw coming, and it completely disrupted the system. Although her sexuality was not the only thing that Madonna was criticized for. Madonna was like criticized for literally like everything about her. Everything you could think of, she had a criticism for. Her vocals were criticized because she sang differently to popular artists at the time when she debuted. Madonna didn't try and show off how like powerful her voice was through like belting and screaming her lyrics, like people did in like the 80s rock. Instead, like, her voice is very emotive, like it was back then, it still is now. She uses her voice to like evoke a lot of emotion in you, which is like a lot more common today compared to like when Madonna debuted in the early 80s. I think, I mean, I wasn't alive back then, but you know, based on everything I know about the time. And also, I'm not trying to say that like belting can't be emotional, because it like obviously can, and a lot of the times it is. Like, think about some pretty good ballads are often belted. However, Madonna's softer, more emotive like voice was kind of not the norm. Madonna's like, oh my god, Madonna's use of religious imagery was like a big controversy for her. She would use like religious symbols and stuff. She would use like different like religious metaphors and stuff in her music and in her performances and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of her songs, music videos, and tours have offended lots of religious people, even though she has said that that was not her intention. The Like a Prayer music video was like a big point of controversy for her. The video itself was perceived as anti-Christian due to the dancing amongst burning crosses, Madonna dressing immodestly, whatever that means, in church, kissing in church, implied masturbation in church, etc., etc. The message of the video, though, was not anti-Christianity, but instead it was to raise awareness for racial injustices. You know, like, the video shows Madonna witness three white people murder a woman, and a black person runs over to help her, and the white men flee. The police see the black man with the woman and arrest him, and then the rest of the video is a dream. The part where Madonna dances amongst burning crosses, not anti-Christian, but instead It's Madonna criticizing systematic racism, specifically like the case she's using their symbolism to do so, which is the burning cross. And when Madonna wakes up, she tells the police that it was actually a group of white men that killed the woman at the start. So yeah, the video was actually anti-racist and not anti-Christian, so if anyone still sees this as anti-Christianity, maybe they want to look inward, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, this video was kind of so controversial though, that like fucking Pope John Paul II called for a global boycott of the video. So yeah, that was a crazy time in her career, but I mean, she has never backed down, and I love that about her. There are a lot of other instances of Madonna using religion to symbolize like different things, but the Like a Prayer video is definitely the most controversial. But some other examples in Consumption and Spirituality, which is a book, the authors credited Madonna for starting the trend of wearing religious items as fashion. She was called anti-Christian and anti-family for this by Minister Donald Wildum. Sorry if I said that wrong. Madonna has also implemented religion into her work in many other ways too. For example, pole dancing with nuns on the Rebel Heart tour, and she has also been credited with popularizing using the cross as a decorative object in pop music. Her use of religion is often Catholic themes and objects due to her very heavy Catholic upbringing. This has earned her the title of the Antichrist, but she has integrated themes from all the major religions at some point in her career. Religious controversies are definitely the biggest controversies of her career. Try saying controversies like so many times, it's not good. Madonna's unwavering support of the LGBTQ+ community, especially at a time during the AIDS crisis, was another thing that she is very much known for and is probably criticized for, even though, you know, most normal people love her for it. At a time where like even touching a gay person was the most terrifying experience for most people, and a time where the president, Ronald Reagan, would not even say the word AIDS, Madonna risked her entire career for the community. Madonna's activism continues to today. It began with her SNL sketch about AIDS in her attempts to destigmatize it, her inclusion of the Facts About AIDS pamphlet in the Like a Prayer album CDs, countless tributes to her own friends she lost to AIDS, and an AIDS memorial during her 2023 celebration tour. Madonna was very personally connected to the AIDS crisis. She'd lost a lot of friends to AIDS. Rumors began that she herself had AIDS as a way to, I guess, explain why she was such an activist for people with AIDS, because apparently it was so unbelievable at the time that someone could care about people with such a horrible disease. I should say though as well that Madonna was not the only person to fight so much for people with AIDS. Princess Diana, Elizabeth Taylor, and many more deserve credit for being a part of the fight too. While this is what she is probably most known for in her LGBTQ+ activism, Madonna has been an activist for queer people since the start of her career, in countless different ways. As another example, she really helped to normalize being gay to the general public at a time where queerness was still so stigmatized. Like, you know, most of her backup dancers were gay men. There was a lot of queer representation in her 1991 documentary, so that was amazing. And she said, I think it was in like an interview in the lead up to the documentary or something like that, I'll put it up in the video, but Madonna said that homophobia is a huge problem in the US, and she saw it as her duty to at least open the door for change.
What I think to be a big problem in the United States, and that's homophobia. I mean, that's there's a real big section in the movie devoted to that.
Yes, and you know that some people are going to find, your fans will love the film, I think, but some people are going to find sections of it offensive.
Well, that's their problem, though.
You don't care?
No, of course not, because, see, these things exist in life. I'm only presenting life to people, you know? I'm not presenting anything that probably they're not exposed to in everyday life, but maybe they don't want to deal with it. You know, if you keep putting something in somebody's face, eventually, maybe they can come to terms with it.
This is Madonna on a one-woman crusade to change the world? To change people's attitudes?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Quite flatly, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to, but maybe I'll start. Maybe I'll open the door. Somebody's got to do it. You got to start somewhere.
And I love her for that. I love her so much. I think because of like when she debuted, I mean, I think it's really clear that Madonna was just kind of ahead of her time. In music and how she acted and how she fought for her beliefs, it was all just kind of so unheard of at the time. And at the time, a powerful force in pop music, especially as a woman, was kind of really uncommon. As was the way that she used her voice, like we've talked about. Women weren't allowed to own their sexuality. While it's absolutely worth highlighting that Madonna wasn't the first to do so, she was one of the first, and was absolutely one of the first to go in with guns blazing. She wasn't afraid to break down those rules, and so she made it her mission to do so. Quick side note, I've seen like a lot of people hating on Madonna for her age right now and still like flaunting her sexuality. And it is something that I want to talk about later, more in depth, like later on in this video. But I want to just say now that like, if it weren't for Madonna, most artists today, like most female artists today, would not have made it. Like, they just wouldn't have. Like, I saw a tweet, like, literally just a few hours ago where someone was saying, like, if it weren't for Madonna, like, your favorite artist would not be able to shake ass on stage. She was a true trailblazer for that. Like, I mean, I don't even think, like, just women, just, like, people would not be able to show off their bodies in the way that they can today if it weren't for Madonna. Like, mostly women, though, to be fair. Like, she did it. She did it, guys. She did it for us. And also, anyway, being part of the LGBTQ plus community in any way was kind of really taboo in the 80s and 90s. So Madonna's relentless support and activism for the community and her like unwillingness to stop talking about the community in the most positive ways contributed so much to the normalization of our community. And while we still aren't accepted everywhere, we can thank Madonna for being a huge part of where we are today. So, actually, you know what? No, Madonna was not just ahead of her time. Absolutely not. She was actively shaping the time that we live in today. Like, if it weren't for her, we wouldn't be here right now. Like, in the way that we are. Do you know what I mean? So, now that we've had our brief little history lesson about Madonna, I guess, if you could call it that, hopefully you can, it's time for me to explain this video's title a little bit. What's the main thing that you see Madonna getting backlash for today? If you said her age, we are thinking very alike. As we've talked about in the video so far, Madonna has always been unapologetically herself, proud of her sexuality and willing to stand up for her beliefs. So why now, suddenly, out of nowhere, do people find that cringe? And why do they find her dance moves cringe now? Why is everything this living legend does suddenly embarrassing? Well, it is because she's 67. I know. The crime of aging. She committed the crime of aging. Not only this, but people find her sexuality literally grotesque because of her age. I've seen countless disgusting comments on her body all over social media, mainly from old men, which I will throw up on the screen if I found them, and if I found them again, I don't know why I'm saying that, because I have found them again. I found them before I started filming. It is absolutely despicable that people think this is okay. Like, I don't know, like, how could you think it is okay to talk about somebody's body in this way? It's disgusting. As female artists get older, they are expected to step back, they're expected to slow down, maybe perform their hits a couple times every few years, release a couple greatest hits albums, and then retire. Madonna has refused to do this. The same way she has always defied societal expectations of her as a woman, she has defied those expectations people have of her for her age. And also, another quick side note, when I say like as female artists get older, it seems to be like that like 40 is the cutoff, because maybe not even that, because Taylor Swift isn't even 40 yet, and people like want her to step down. Like, people are like all over Twitter like, oh my god, when's she just gonna like slow down and give someone else a chance? Like, she isn't, because this is her job, her life, this is her dream. She's not going away just because some like weirdo on Twitter wants her to stop. she still has so much time left. Madonna still has so much time left. Why would they want to quit doing something they love so much? I don't get it. Madonna's latest tour wrapped up just over 2 years ago, and the chances are high that it was not her last. I mean, I hope and pray it wasn't her last because I need to see her at least once. At the time of recording, she has just released her 15th studio album, Confessions 2. The sequel to... I wrote one of her best albums on, like, my script, but it is not one of her best albums. It is her best album, Confessions on a Dance Floor. That album is, like, one of the greatest pop albums of all time. Confessions 2 came out, like, I think literally yesterday as I'm filming this. She is showing no signs of slowing down, and also Confessions 2 is fucking amazing. I've had it on repeat constantly. Some of the best songs she's ever made, genuinely, on the album. Give it a listen if you haven't. And I think, like, another thing about her age that's, like, getting her criticism, I suppose, is, like, the plastic surgery she potentially may have had. She's relentlessly criticized for this. Madonna has never admitted to having plastic surgery. I mean, she even said that I am certainly not against plastic surgery. However, I am absolutely against having to discuss it, which, you know, go off, Queen. Like, you don't have to discuss it. You don't owe anyone an explanation. And I don't really understand why people think she does owe them an explanation, but whatever. That is, like, absolutely the best stance for her to have. Ultimately, people can speculate on whether or not she has had surgery, on how different she looks, whatever, but, like, why do you care? On the night of the 2023 Grammys, when Madonna was being constantly harassed for her looks, she said, "Once again, I am caught in the glare of ageism and misogyny that premates the world we live in, a world that refuses to celebrate women past the age of 45 and feels the need to punish her if she continues to be strong-willed, hard-working, and adventurous. I have been degraded by the media since the beginning of my career, but I understand that this is all a test and I am happy to do the trailblazing so that all the women behind me can have an easier time in the years to come." And I think that she's absolutely right. The constant recent criticism of her looks is blatant misogyny and ageism, in my opinion, as all of the criticism throughout her entire career has always been. And it is really, really sad, but what she said about this being a test and being happy to do all the trailblazing so that women behind her can have an easier time. It's so sad, but she has had to do that and she has done it. And I mean, we should all just be really grateful that she was willing to do that. So I guess my question for these people is, why do you think that it is your right to tell Madonna that she is disgusting for refusing to age gracefully? Or tell her that her potential surgeries are ruining her legacy? Of course, aging is a beautiful thing, okay? And a lot of people are so lucky for being able to get older because there are so many people out there who just didn't have that privilege, unfortunately. But if Madonna wants to continue to look young, that is her right just as much as it's your right to not get plastic surgery. And also, she looks stunning. And you know what? I'm sure you do too. So why do you care what she chooses to do with her own body? I think the reaction to her surgeries that she may have gotten are just so rooted in misogyny. Like, when men get plastic surgery, the reaction is nowhere near as severe. For example, Simon Cowell. Look at his plastic surgeries. They're often, like, laughed off and put down to just a man wanting to alter his look a bit, whereas Madonna is demonized and degraded for the same thing. Also, for a lot of famous women, and also just, like, normal, regular women, aging gracefully is so looked down upon too, and they're often crucified for the sin of aging. And so lots of celebrities turn to plastic surgery to avoid the harassment from the media that comes with aging. They're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. The media just love nothing more than harassing women. So why do I think all of this is relevant? I think that ultimately this is why people have such strong opinions on Madonna. She goes against everything people, men, want from female celebrities by still touring, by still making music, by staying in complete control of her looks and how she presents herself and what she speaks out about. She truly is a trailblazer. Madonna paved the way for most artists today, and she has been so impactful for the feminism movement because of like all of this. So yeah, I think that this is why people are so scared of Madonna. She challenges the system, a system made by rich white straight men for rich white straight men. She always has, and she still does, and she always will. Because Madonna and everything she stands for will never be forgotten. Madonna is one of the most recognizable names in pop culture. She has been for 40 years. So, just like Taylor Swift, she's immortal now, baby dolls. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting enough. I hope you like Confessions too and all of Madonna's other albums. And I also hope that you like and subscribe because I would appreciate that so much. It would be very kind of you. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. Bye.